Good evening and welcome to the Laughing Monkey Music Show. Today I'm Brian Wheat from Tesla. How are you?
Hey man, how are you?
I'm glad we could do this. I'm glad we could. You have time. I know you got a gig tonight, so you're squeezing me in. I appreciate it. You are everywhere, so this is very cool of you to take a few to do
Ah,
this.
hey, man, my pleasure. Sorry, I know we've been trying to connect for a while, and between my schedule and your
I
schedule,
know
and I got sick, and just but we're here today, so it's a
we are
good
here
day.
today. It's good. We'll talk about the music and stuff. I just want to touch with the beginning. I didn't get to talk to you last year when your book came out, Milkman
Mm.
Son. I really love it. It's not just a book. I mean, you can be like a non-music lover and still like the book. I think it has a lot of lot of points about struggle and coming to terms with stuff, and it's a very real book. I want
Yeah,
to say the first question is: it's been out for a year now. Have people come up to you and said, "Hey, this has really made a difference. I can relate. This makes me feel better."
yeah, yeah. In a word, yeah. People have. Is it okay if I move around?
Yeah,
People have come up to me and said, "Hey, because I talk about how I suffered from depression and anxiety, how I was
yeah,
bulimic at one point, how I have, ulcerative colitis, autoimmune disease. And the whole point of writing the book wasn't to write a book about the history of Tesla. Because if Jeff wrote one, or Frank or Troy or Tommy or Dave, uh, it would be different than mine because we all see it and remember it a certain way.
hmm
So it wasn't that. It was more for kind of inner healing with all the shit I had to deal with in my life, and like just saying, look, I too, I'm like one of you. I suffer from depression. I suffer from ulcerative colitis. Sometimes I'm not very friendly with people, but what you don't know is it feels like someone's turning a knife in my stomach because my intestines are on fire. And so it was kind of healing for me in the sense to put all that out there and just maybe answer a few questions to people who may have a preconceived notion of what I'm like or who I am or that. So, but
definitely.
yeah, I have had a lot of people reach out to me and say, "Hey, man, it really helped me."
That's gonna be
Just
awesome because it's just because I mean, to know that you went through it and you know that something you've done can actually make it a little better for somebody else going through it. That's pretty awesome, man. You
that's
know.
that's the reward. You know what I mean?
There's
And
so much relatable parts in your book. I'm sorry, in your book that for people, I could relate to a lot of the stories, a lot of the depression and the struggling, but you kept doing stuff, man. You didn't stop.
yeah, well, I don't know how. I mean, that's the thing. People say, "Well, you ever retire?" Not really. I mean, there'll come a day where Tesla won't play anymore because we'll just be too old to play, and
Right.
probably Jeff won't. I mean, we'll keep playing as long as Jeff can keep singing to the level he sings at,
Yeah.
right? I don't want to be one of those bands that keeps playing when people say, "Oh, Jeff sounds terrible." At that point,
hmm
you have a responsibility to stop. Um, but I'll always work, and I do work in the music field. So whether it's producing or songwriting or engineering or mixing or whatever, but I can't not do nothing. I don't. If you saw me during COVID,
Yeah.
uh, I looked pretty bad. I put on like 70 pounds, and I didn't dye my hair. I didn't shave. I looked like a homeless dude just because I literally thought we were all going to die. Because
Yeah.
that's what the media led you to believe, that we are all going to fucking die.
It felt like it.
And I kind of subscribed to it for a minute. And, next thing I know, I woke up and I was 80 pounds heavier and I looked like a homeless guy. And then it was like, oh, okay, you're going back to work. And then it's like, I've spent the last year and a half getting back in shape and all that. So there's always struggles in life. And you've got to, you know, sometimes they knock you down. You got to pick yourself up off the ground. You got to hang tough, like Jeff says.
That's right. It's
Yeah.
you guys haven't weakened now. So I mean, and the fact you sound great. I mean, the videos out there now. I haven't got a chance to see you this year. You guys are great. I mean, YouTube, everything's out there for everybody. You have a good idea of how somebody sounds nowadays, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
great.
And that's good and that's bad because
Right.
if you sound like shit, people are gonna know. You sound good, that's good too.
Right. You have a better chance. It's like being a fighter, a boxer. You're only as good as your last fight. At least you got a lot more fights to put up on for people to see
I
than
hope
6 minutes
so.
between. No, you guys
I hope
are
so.
the sounds of you guys. And actually, we talk about songwriting. Let's hop in there a little bit, actually, so we're not wasting time. When you guys did your first album, you guys were still kind of new, getting used to each other. It's a great rock album, but somewhere
Yeah.
between that one and the second one, the song composition and like the layers, they still are good rock songs. But being a player and myself, it changed. Did you feel the change too? How the cohesiveness of your songwriting with you guys together? It
Yeah,
just
yeah. I mean, for me personally, the on the first album, the one song that I had a lot to do with was "Love Me." Me and Frank wrote together, right? And then on the second album, I kind of got to Paradise, which is completely different, you know.
yeah.
And I think I was just getting more confident, you know what I mean, and being not shy to propose an idea for a song or whatever, because I subscribe to the theory that on the eighth day God created Paul McCartney. So
I hear you on that.
that's my hero, right? So when you listen to something like Paradise, that's me trying to write, something like Golden Slumbers, or that kind of,
Yeah.
My three favorite bands are Beatles, Queen, and Led Zeppelin. So
Right on.
that's where I draw from when I write, I guess, my inner whatever. I mean, I listen to tons of music, but those three things really resonate inside me. So I think there was a lot of growth on that second album. Tommy wrote Heaven's Trail, which was, that was a great song.
Mm-hmm.
Still a great song. We play it every night. Frank's always kind of been a musical kind of genius, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, he was as good as he was. I mean, when he made that first record, he was 17.
I mean, it's a good. Don't get me wrong. The first record's really good. I'm saying, but as a songwriter, like the songs on the second album, I couldn't compare like Paradise or Heaven. Like, there's a lot of songs in there that didn't sound like anything I've ever heard before. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Way it is.
Yeah, you're like
Love song.
right.
I mean, just those four songs in itself, are all different, but they still sound good today when we play them. So that's a good thing.
It's a real good thing. And you guys, in every album, you guys continually to stay good or get better. And your songs are great. I know you said there's a few songs you don't like on some of them, maybe weaker ones you don't like. I know you mentioned the book. You're not a little hard on
Yeah, I mean,
yourself.
listen, you don't like every song you ever do, and I don't like every song I personally wrote or had a hand in writing. But then there are ones that stick out, and those are the ones that you wind up playing, for 35 years and stuff. So we always tried to write the best songs we could, and we were always encouraged by our A&R guy, Tom Zutat, and our managers, Peter mentioned Cliff Bernstein. It was always kind of ingrained in us, look, try to write the best song you can, because we weren't pretty guys. We weren't going to make it on our looks. So it was more, be true to yourself and try to write, classic songs. And that's what we try to do.
You guys were the non-image. Your image was being a non-image. I remember thinking
Yeah,
that
it was very Spinal Tap in saying that, but it was actually 100% right, because, I mean, we're not an image band, but, I was with my brother in Italy last week, and we were driving, and we were talking about a bunch of bands and how some bands had huge records. And I said, if you had asked me today if I would have rather had one of those huge records and been done in 5 or 6 years, or had a 37-year career, I picked a 37-year career.
Oh, I mean,
because we had big records, but we never had that big Appetite for Destruction or Slippery When Wet or Hysteria or the Black Album. But we always, sold 1 million, 2 million records. I think the biggest record we ever did was the 5-man acoustic jam. Yeah, I'm pretty sure as far as sales. But now I'm up there every night, and I look at Jeff and Frank, and I go, man, it's been 37 years and we're still here, and rooms sold out, and they're singing the songs, and that's quite an accomplishment, I think.
And the relationships. I mean, I know you've had changes. I know when you're losing Tommy, but then I know recently you guys have I think you guys have at least become friends again, which I think is a nice.
Me and Tommy
olive
are friends again, yeah, and that's great. I'm really glad that me and him have been able to get past all the bullshit. A lot of it was fueled by people doing interviews and taking shit out of
Right.
context, and I think we were both hurt, and once me and him hooked back up, I know it was great for my soul, and I think he feels a lot better as well, and I'm really happy that me and him.
I am too. When I heard, I like that kind of stuff. I don't like the dirt or bad stuff. I'm a huge Beatles fan, right? If you look behind me, you see real small.
Yeah, you always wanted John and Paul to make up.
So when I saw Get Back and I saw the Beatles getting along, different from what we heard,
yeah,
it felt good as a fan, didn't it? So
yeah,
similarly,
and George and Paul were real close in the end,
Yeah.
and everyone thought they didn't like each other. And as I said, a lot of times the media takes things. Look, we're the five of us, six of us, seven of us now. We're all brothers. You know what I mean? So that'll always be there. And even the Troy's not here right now. He's still my brother. I love him as a brother.
is he playing again? Is he gonna? I just know he's not been playing. I don't really need to get into the dirt. Is
well,
he just? I know.
I don't know what's going to happen there. That
Okay.
remains
That's
to
fair.
be seen. But Steve's out now, and we're.
He
playing.
sounds good. On YouTube, he sounds good. So
Yeah, no, well, he sounds good. He sounds good in person. But I love Troy Luccketta. I mean, he's my brother. And sometimes brothers get in arguments and fight, and family's family. They're more my family,
right.
than probably my blood family.
I actually was surprised you shared that you guys were actually coming to blows sometimes. You shared that in the book. And I think it was very, very, very nice because it's very real. It's very real.
It's true. I mean, look, me and Jeff got in a fight one time. Me and Skio the only guy I never got in a fight with was Frank. He kicked my ass.
Frank's like that one.
Frank's a fucking like karate guy, but we're brothers, man. We call each other names and cuss each other out, but we won't let you do it.
Well, right.
And that's the thing. So it's a family. It's very much a family. And I'm thankful for each and every one of those guys.
You guys, as we go on, I mean, I'm glad you guys are together. And David, what a great player, singer that he's fit in perfectly. And you had such a great. The ingredients you had was obviously to get a band and did is a lightning in a bottle situation. So when a member leaves, it always can be real hard. So to get somebody else that kind of comes back in there and you guys just keep going, at least on the outside, without skipping a lot of beats. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, Dave came out at a time when we were having a hard time, and poor Tommy was, obviously having a hard time at that time. And he came along and, kind of got us back focused and track. And he's a great guy. I love Dave Rude.
Yeah, he looks like you guys have a lot of fun together on stage.
Yeah, he's my little brother. I love that guy. I love all those guys. I'm the one guy that thinks maybe one day we'll all play together one time. You know what I mean?
That'd be a lot of fun.
I think it would be great for everybody involved and great for the fans to, when it's time to say goodbye.
Yeah,
I would be the guy to put up my hand and hope that we could all do it together one last time.
That would be good.
Everybody. So.
I hear you. So actually, while we're talking about music, and you guys have been releasing a couple singles. Yeah. Are we going towards an album at this point? Something soon? Because I know because you're touring till the end of September-ish, and then you guys are taking a break. It looks like, at least on a schedule for touring.
Yeah, I don't know about a full-length album.
Really?
It takes a lot of time and energy for us. And let's face it, we're in the later part of our career now. There's no denying it. I mean, we're getting older. And do I want to spend 2 years making a record, or do I want to spend 2 years out playing? So I think, the fact that, we're putting out a song every 6 months or something, keeps the fans happy, keeps us creatively happy. And we can get out there and play as many shows while the quality of our live performance is still good. You can do all kinds of shit in the studio,
Right.
right? But live is live. So I think now is the time to play live while we still can. And then, who knows? I mean, we'll be together till we die. I'm pretty sure, you know what I mean?
Well, it's interesting because you did an album. Well, Shock was it 2019 came out, and then you have
Yeah.
two more singles. So it does feel like you're on the pattern of doing more music again. That's why, like, you know
Yeah,
what I'm
no, we're
saying?
playing music. It's just, look, Shock was a lot of work and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears went in that. And Phil Collin really invested himself in it.
Yeah.
And I did as well, and the band did. And we just, it's funny, that album, because I really like that album, but then I talked to a lot of people who absolutely hate it. And it's like, well, okay, that's a strong word, hate, right? It's like we were trying something different, and I think there's some great stuff on that album. I think Jeff sounds fucking amazing on that album. Phil got some of the best vocals I ever heard from Jeff.
I think,
and it's just, we just don't have it in us to do that. And the clock's ticking, and people haven't seen us for the last 2 years because of COVID. So, will I say we'll never do another album? I can't say that, but I can say I don't think so. I think we'll do a couple songs here, a couple songs there, and that's what that's the plan as it sits today. But we change all the time, and that's what I tell people. I mean, we never try to calculate what we're doing. We just do it. And right now, this is where we're at. I mean, a year from now, we could be having a different conversation.
I think that was Shock, though. I think you're right. Some of the fans were divided with that one. When I first heard it, there's a bunch of songs like a normal fan I loved, and some of them I'm like, all right, okay. And it's just recently, like a month or two ago, I went back and listened to it, and those songs that weren't sticking out are jumping out at me now. It's like, so apparently this is an album that kind of got to go back to a few times for me, at least. You know what I mean?
I think
I'm finding
so.
stuff in it.
I think it was a little different. It was obviously a lot more produced than.
Well, I think it sounded like Def Leppard a little bit in some of the choruses, and I think
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what
that's
got people
true.
got
And
their fur going.
we had a little bit of debate about that. And look, we let Phil produce, and he's like, no, let's do it this way. And we said, okay, man, we're gonna let you, because we love and respect Phil, and he's great.
Yeah.
And, hindsight being 2020 would, on something like We Can Rule the World, I specifically had said to Phil, I think these harmonies sound too much like you guys, not enough like us.
Mm-hmm.
And I might fight a little harder for that today, but it is what it is. You know what I mean? And doesn't make the song not a very good song. It's a great song. I mean, I love that song. So it's just, I tell people an album is a snapshot of where you are at that particular time in your career.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we were then. We were on tour with Def Leppard. We were real tight with those guys. We've always been real tight. Phil's always been a brother to us. And we made that record with Phil, and I think it's a great record. I love it. For the people who don't, look, I'm a huge fan of Paul McCartney, right? There's a bunch of records he made I didn't care for. I still love Paul McCartney, and they're still great ones. And those are the ones I listen to. And even the ones that I didn't like, I go back to and go, oh, that was great. That not everything, and not everything Tesla does is going to be great. We try, but we're only human. And a lot of people love Shock, but it was the most divided record we ever had, which I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. I think I'd rather have people love you and hate you than just kind of go, oh, it's okay.
I wonder if it's people that say they hated it are people that don't like Def Leppard because,
well, probably,
you know what I'm saying?
People, and I think maybe people that are used to us sounding a certain way, and they don't want it to change. And the last couple of things have reverted back towards the old school sound of Tesla. So I'll be the one pushing to do some new school Tesla. That's the balance, right? Me and Frank. Frank likes raw and spur of the moment, and I like architected. I mean, that's what makes us.
And both
And
you
when
are
we
producers too, right?
Yeah,
So
and when we both put our heads together, we usually come up with something, really, really good. There's the Time to Rock single. We're just finishing up for this year. We got like 6, 7 more shows, and then we're done. And then, we'll pick back up first part of next year, and look for some more dates, and another song, and more good stuff. Just bringing it to the people. We're gonna come to your town and throw it down.
that's awesome. I'll be honest with you, I even love Reel to Reel. I just go through like Reel to Reel is like my
Reel to
favorite
Reel,
song.
I love.
Yeah.
One of the things I'm doing on the off time is I'm mastering it for vinyl. It's going to come out on vinyl. Yeah, next year.
I'm a vinyl guy, so.
Yeah, so am I. I'm a total vinyl guy. So, yeah, next year. That's coming out next year on vinyl.
Both of them. Okay.
Yeah.
I think they're both strong. I
love it. That was a fucking lot of fun, man. And that was at a time when Dave had just joined, so we were just getting to know Dave, and we kind of went back to like being in the garage playing cover songs, like when me and Frank first started, and it was real fun. I love that. I
actually went back and listened to some of the originals of some of those, because there's a couple I didn't know or I hadn't heard in so long, and I was like, holy crow, I like some of these versions better than the originals, and that's when it's a good jam. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, we've got, Susie was a cover, and so is Sign. So you should check out the version of The Ocean we did sometime. That's really good.
I've heard it. It's good. I love it.
Yeah. I have some stuff in the vaults that one day hopefully we'll be able to put out. If we ever get to this box set we've been talking about for years. That's just contractual shit between us and Universal Records that we can't come to terms on. But, there's some other real cool shit that it'll all come to light one day, so there's awesome. Still gas in the tank, man.
Well, you guys keep playing. Thank you, man. This is awesome. You take care. All right.